What was Yugoslavia's self-management economic model? Imagine a country where workers don't just show up for their jobs but actually have a say in how their workplaces run. That's what Yugoslavia aimed for with its self-management economic model. Instead of the usual top-down control seen in many socialist countries, this system gave workers direct power over their enterprises. They elected councils to make decisions about production, distribution, and policies, reducing the need for strict government oversight. This approach was a big shift from the Soviet style of centralized planning. Instead of the state owning everything and making all decisions, enterprises were owned collectively by society but managed by the workers themselves. This meant that the workers had a stake in how their company operated, aligning their interests with the success of the business. It was meant to create a more democratic and participatory form of socialism, where workers could influence their work environment directly. After World War II, Yugoslavia initially followed Soviet economic ideas, but that changed after the split with the Soviet Union in 1948. Yugoslav leaders criticized the Soviet model for being too bureaucratic and rigid. In 1950, they introduced laws to establish workers' councils with elected representatives. Over time, these councils gained more influence, although government-appointed managers still played a role early on. By the 1960s, the system evolved further. State property was turned into social property, which was considered owned by everyone collectively. This was meant to eliminate private ownership and even reduce state control, creating a new form of social ownership. Enterprises operated within a market environment, meaning they bought and sold goods based on supply and demand, but they remained socially owned and managed by workers. This mix of market mechanisms and social ownership was what made Yugoslavia's model stand out. It aimed to combine the efficiency of markets with the ideals of socialism. Politically, decentralization was also a key part. Local governments had more authority, and the central government's control over economic life was lessened. This was supposed to prevent bureaucratic elites from gaining too much power and encourage local participation. Of course, the system wasn't perfect. By the late 1970s and early 1980s, it faced problems like inefficiencies and economic struggles. Still, it was a bold attempt to create a socialist economy that was more democratic, worker-focused, and market-oriented. It showed a different way to think about socialism in practice, blending worker control with market principles to try and make the economy more responsive and participatory.